public comment or inquiry, please?
Mr. Mayor?
I'm sorry.
Before we get there, if it's okay with you, I have a family matter that I need to attend, so if I can be excused.
Absolutely.
Did you have something?
Would it be possible to do the motion that I was going to make first before he leaves?
I thought we had spoken and indicated that we had approved that motion already. Do you think it's really necessary to do it again in the public? There's no special reason for it. We agreed to do it, and we'll do it.
Okay, so what we agreed to do was to post video of the awards and presentations that occur at the beginning of these meetings on the township Facebook page and website, and that the video will not include the screen that says, "Brought to you by Friends of Televised Access."
Remember that?
That's
It's a link. Yeah, it's a link.
It's a link, right.
Right, thank you. Mr. Arvides, thank you so much for being here. Good luck.
Good luck.
Okay. Anyone from the public here to be heard? Go ahead, ma'am, please.
My name is Dian Freeman. I live on Tendergate Hill Road. I lived there almost 48 years. I designed and built a house, and when I moved on that street, I had really lovely neighbors. I think that we have a problem on that street now that needs to be addressed at the Board of Health meeting, but there's not one this month or next. And so I will have plenty of time to prepare if I need to for the one in September. But in the meantime, I feel like I have been brutally harassed and abused and attacked by this town since my husband's death. Before that, nothing happened. Since my husband's death, I've had at least 27 summonses to court, fines, lawyers. I run a business. I'm now negotiating for 8,000 more square feet. This town threw me out of my house for doing business there, very unkindly. By the way, these letters that are sent out to the town, could they not be worded a little more politely? They make a person sound like they're a criminal, they're attacking, they're abusive, and then when you go and speak to someone, instead of speaking to me, I was yelled at, "How dare you have a business in your house? I saw it there, I saw it on Facebook." I said, "Yes, I've had a business since 1982. I have over 6,000 clients now. Why are you throwing me out of my house? I'm the sole breadwinner. You can't do there unless you pay us this, unless you do that, unless you get every single, neighbor to well, I've learned that every time I'm attacked by this town that it's an invitation to advancement. Thank God I'm so blessed. So my business, I had to move out of my house, doubled, tripled, quadrupled. It's not what I wanted. I liked my small business. I could be there, take my dogs out, watch over the cats, be in my house, entertain, fundraise. But now I'm forced to go to work each day, and I teach on weekends. I certify people to go into business. I'm now applying for a tech school license. I'd like to stay in business, but if this town keeps harassing me and taking me away from my business, I might have to fold that business and take this town to task. If you could read the letters I've received, awful. And by the way, they're being saved. So the language and, well, actually, Mayor Mancuso.
I'm going to instruct the committee not to engage in a discourse with you, Ms. Freeman, because I understand this matter is in municipal court, and it would be inappropriate for this body to in any way comment or
Can I ask
come
questions?
down on one side of the issue or the other. I mean, we'll hear you out, but please don't ask us
Well,
any
you have
questions.
the
Don't
letter
ask
I
us to
sent,
take a
so
position.
you hear me out, but this I realize is more appropriate for the Board of Health.
It is.
But I also want you to know that because of this, all of this harassment, I've had an MRI, thank God. I had a stroke that didn't hurt my speech ability and my thinking ability. But I now am seeking, counsel myself. And I wanted to see what was going to be said in this court before I lay out a tremendous amount of money to get a very high-powered counsel for this. Because It has gone on beyond my ability to tolerate. And I know that it's happened to other elderly widows and single women. And I am now collecting that information. I don't want to have to pay for it. I would like for me not to have to pay for investigators to investigate, but I will, to see who else. Thank God today we have social media. I have many clients whose lives...
The commentary is really extending beyond the issue at hand. I understand you're having an issue with our zoning ordinances and the manner of enforcement, and I certainly don't want the record to reflect that a lack of response is in any way indicative that this body agrees with your statements. We do not. We don't disagree. We don't agree. We cannot take a side on this because it's being handled in another forum. But I can't have you continue to just denigrate the township.
This is not handled in that forum. Cats are handled in that forum. The harassment should be handled by this township. The harassment is by the employees that you are supposed to be overseeing. And the way that they are handling their business is really not even socially acceptable.
But I sort of take issue, ma'am, with the fact that you're saying that there are so many people who are in your situation, who are widows, who are being harassed by the township. That's a specious statement. I can't
No,
understand
I
you
only
saying it.
know of two. So I
Okay,
would
well,
have to do
that's not a
it.
lot of other people, too.
Okay, sorry,
Okay.
two other people. So I have to do more investigating. I don't want to do this. I'd like to run my business and live my life.
There is a forum for you to address these.
Where is
I
that?
understand you're in municipal court now. If there's an adverse ruling, you have the ability to appeal that to the Superior Court here in Morristown.
I
And
plan to.
having the matter in judicial scrutiny at the moment, it makes me disinclined to invite you to continue any further.
Well,
because
I'm
you're-
not going to that court about harassment. I'm going to this body because it is this body's job
This
to
body
oversee
cannot
that.
participate in helping you
Well,
with your...
who does overlook the employees of this
I'm
town?
not going to engage in a conversation.
Where do I go? Other than sue? I mean, I would really like to settle it. I'd like very much to be left alone.
We are not invested with that authority.
Can I ask a question of the mayor? How many people voted for you when you were last elected?
I'm sorry, I could not hear you.
Ma'am,
I just wonder how many people are
Oh,
active
oh,
civically
That's
in
not,
the town.
come on.
what relevance does that have, ma'am?
I just wonder if there's any civic activity in this town anymore. When I
No,
first moved
absolutely.
here, there was.
We just do this because we enjoy being here. We work on this
I
for 20 to 30
understand
hours a week,
you,
ma'am.
I
and
just
please,
wonder
I
about.
take
the
umbrage
people.
at you trying to bring up the fact that we're not civil servants and we're not working for you. We certainly are. We work for 24,000 people in this township, not for any particular group of partisan thinking. So we do that on a constant basis.
I understand that I was the subject of lots of discussion at the last Board of Health meeting, but I was never asked to be there or even to defend myself or to even, was I told that this would be a discussion? And I don't think that's very polite.
Respectfully, we're not going to be able to resolve your problems here. I'm sorry.
So where?
The forum you're in. Are you not in court?
The judge asked me to do something, I complied. There's no other order, there's no other summons, there's no other.
Well, our information is different. I'm not going to be argumentative with you. Our information is different.
If you have an order for me?
We understand a court date is pending in August.
Yeah, but there's no order for me to do anything. I'm just gonna go and say, what do you want?
But it hasn't been involved yet.
You say black, I say white, we're not going to settle it. I'm sorry. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else care to be heard?
Lee Goldberg, 10 Arrowhead Road. Resolution, Mr. Mills, you had the one at the end there that was added recently to, I guess it's not on the copy, I'll get 164, dash 18. Something about a condemnation zone. Where, just for context, 355 Madison Ave, is that the Abbey? Where is, that is the Abbey. So this resolution is, so what is the resolution doing, please, Mr. Mills?
It asks the planning board to undertake a study as to whether or not that particular property should or could be considered one in need of redevelopment, and then on a non-condemnation basis, meaning that if it were deemed to be in need of redevelopment and a redeveloper were located, that redeveloper would not have powers of condemnation, which some redevelopment ordinances can actually confer, believe it or not.
For the developer to actually be able to condemn,
In other, not in this case,
but not in this case, but.
but in other, yes, in other aggressively crafted ordinances, yeah.
And so the plan, so this is the planning board, this is the directive to the planning board to undertake.
To look at to direct their planner to look at the property and then determine whether or not it is one that is in need of redevelopment.
Okay, thank you. I saw there's a special meeting posted, I guess it was rescheduled from yesterday to next Saturday. Something along I'm sorry, the 28th.
Right, that date's gonna change.
The 28th date is going to change as well? Is it going to be pulled forward, pushed out,
It's most likely gonna be the 26th,
which is a Thursday?
correct.
And is there a designated time for that? Yeah,
Same time as.
5 p.m. on Thursday, the 26th.
But that's not set in stone yet, so I put it out.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the heads up on that. In looking at the posting that was on the township website, it says green strip gathering information. What type of information is going to be gathered at this meeting?
It's a safety concern with trees and that need to be addressed in that area and taken down.
And so it's a public meeting. The township, this body is meeting to get to assess the tree damage with, I guess, in conjunction with DPW people or arborists or just trying to, but
It's a neighborhood meeting, usually 2 committee members are there, but because the third member wanted to attend, it becomes a special meeting.
okay. And then once that plan is enacted, I guess the information on what's going to be done with the green strip will be revealed and the money accounted for to pay for the work and all that stuff comes later, not at this.
There's going to be no action at that meeting,
No action.
and the plan has already been posted.
It's just a precautionary so that we're not accused of violating the Open Public Meetings Act by having a
Okay.
quorum present.
And that
There's no
plan,
agenda, there's no minutes,
I get it,
there's no
because,
flag salute.
because there's a quorum or, okay, got it. And so, that you just said the plan is already posted, Mr. Beckwith?
That is correct.
And that's on the township website, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. The resolution for the railroad crossing and quiet zones to designate an easement, is that the purpose of the resolution tonight, is just to designate that easement? That's just the predecessor to other stuff that has to come later? Is that the only intent of this resolution?
Right, we need the easement so that they can put the railroad crossing in there. Or the barriers in there, not
The barriers, and then the funding of that is going to come from Vision and Hovnanian, there's no actual township dollars,
Entirely from the developer.
entirely from the developer. Thank you. At the planning board meeting, I think it was last month, the group called Columbia Road Partners that manages, I guess, the the tennis courts there on Columbia Road. There was some mention that there's something before the TCC of that, those tennis courts perhaps being repurposed and a rectangular field put in there. Have you heard anything about that? Any news on that or any update on that? If that's a notion that's
Do they have to go before the planning board?
not aware of anything. So follow up with the planning board on that?
Not before the township committee.
Not before the, okay. Any update on the commercial development from Vision on the old Honeywell track? Is that something I have to follow up with the planning board as well?
Nothing at this time.
There's nothing at this time, okay. The Colgate Palmolive tract, the mounds of crushed debris that seem to have been there for a while. I did notice there's a sanitation truck sort of parked there at the entranceway blocking sort of, is that still?
Not anymore.
Why was that truck there?
That was our temporary disposal area for all the brush from the snowstorms. We were blocking off because people were coming in there and dumping.
Gotcha. Interesting. Two more questions. I noticed that it was published, I guess, the amount of money that our school district is getting from the state back. And looking at the percentages that are going to each of the districts, I was hoping Mr. Pendergrass was going to present tonight, and maybe you could ask him with that. But it looked, and I'm not schooled in this, and hopefully someone on the committee can maybe help explain it. When I looked at percentages of towns near us, East Hanover, Forum Park, Mendon, the percentages they were getting like 11, 12, 15%, 5.7% to the Morris School District. Is that because of some sort of demographic or calculation that we're so far below everyone else, or
You'd have to go to the school board for that.
school board? Thank you. Mr. Mills, the Sisters of Charity, they were supposed to produce a concept plan, I guess, by, was it July 13th? Did that ever get delivered or presented to?
Yes, it did.
It did, and as a result of that, is next steps under foot to reintroduce an ordinance, or when
The township's team will be discussing it tomorrow.
the township's team, legal
The
team?
planner,
Oh, the planner,
Mr. Quinn,
gotcha.
myself,
And is that,
Mr. Slate,
is that concept plan something that's available to the public?
not yet.
Not yet. Any estimated time, would that be available before the court date in August?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And is that court date that's coming up in August, will there be public notice of that as well?
No, I think that is really just a status conference or in-court settlement conference. It's not for final compliance hearing.
Okay. And listening to the judge on the transcript, it seemed like there was going to be a pre-phone call and then an actual court date as well.
Looked like that. I didn't refresh myself on her last order. I also think she wants us to involve the assigned mediation planner in the process as well.
Right. Okay. Sorry, what was that?
I was advising Mr. Mills what we.
Okay, thank you. I guess my last question is, I guess related to our EDAC committee here in the township. I know Parsippany just landed a big pharma client. Just wondering, Mr. Sisler, I know you chair the EDAC committee. Is there anything in the hopper? Did we have a chip in for that pharma company, or is anything you can report on where there's something in the offing, potentially a new big employer or anything coming to town, or?
No.
No? All right, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else care to be heard?
Hi, George Quillan, 7 Bishop Court. I wanted to ask a couple more questions about the quiet zone on the, I guess, on Con Road. There are actually 2 crossings. I think someone on the township committee may have mentioned this, but I wasn't quite sure what I was hearing. So there's a crossing on Con Road that goes into the property, but then there's another crossing slightly to the east, which goes to a lot which has 2 houses on it.
That's going to be closed down, and the egress will be onto the Con Road.
Oh, so there'll be some sort of driveway that goes to the west and goes over to Con Road. That seems like a good solution. Also, something that has bothered me from time to time is the fact that those train tracks are right next to Old Turnpike Road with no fence. As I don't know the name of the road that's just to the west of Con Road, but as you walk along Old Turnpike Road from that road to the really to Punchbowl Road, there's no fence protecting someone from simply walking out, I think, of like Topless. There's some houses along Old Turnpike Road. I would hate to have anyone buy one of those houses and have a 3-year-old who could just just walk out from the house and across the front yard and across Old Turnpike Road and onto the train tracks. I wondered if that was something that was ever discussed.
Not our property.
Not that we're aware of. I mean, thousands, millions of miles probably of train tracks in this country that are unfenced.
Whose property is it?
New Jersey Transit.
So the property on which the township is giving an easement, where is that property?
It's coming across the creek from Con Road.
Our road is the property.
But not that part of the road that is right next to the train tracks. So where,
There's a traction line, there's water utilities and everything else going up and over the tracks.
the traction line doesn't go over the tracks.
No, it's on adjacent to it, maybe an easement for that.
What will they do to the traction line? I'm sorry, I don't follow.
The railroad tracks will be blocked off so nobody can have access to come across either as a pedestrian or as a vehicle.
And so, in spite of the fact that all the work that they'll be doing is on New Jersey Transit property, an easement is required because,
There's underground utilities, there's water, and there is the traction line.
okay, thank you.
Sure. Anybody else care to be heard? Seeing, oh, yes, ma'am, please.
Hi there. My name is Gail. I live at 18 Corey Road. I want to thank you guys for putting up the tennis court net on, in Collinsville, the playground. That had been something that was a real sore subject for me every time I passed by. It's up today. The playground itself still looks like we've forgotten about it. The other playgrounds around the town, Morris Township, have nice, you know, equipment for the kids to play on. Don't need a sandbox because, you know, cats like that. So basically, the kids don't have a playground. And can somebody give me, because members of Collinsville are trying to bring me up to date as to why you've been so slow with developing that area. So,
As they probably told you, we hired an engineer to help plot us where all of the equipment is going to go. That is underway. That will be done very shortly, and then once that design is reviewed by members of the standing committee, along with our Parks and Recreation, it will be presented to the residents of Collinsville for their review,
so what's shortly?
probably within the next month or so.
The next month?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'll move on to Tucker Field. A group of the Collinsville residents was invited to a meeting with Unity Charter School. They had asked our help to help develop this ground. I guess it's a gazebo, or what's it called? It's a garden, a little garden. I took a professional over yesterday to take a look at that area. And her first comment was, trees that had fallen down during one of the storms, your maintenance people, instead of removing the lump of trees, which of course attracts rodents and mosquitoes and everything else, which makes it difficult to play in an area, it's still there. And what your people are doing is cutting grass around these clumps of trees instead of removing the debris. So we'd like to see, would you comment on that?
I'll give it to our Parks and Recreation Director to review.
If you would, we'd appreciate it. Okay,
Thank you very much, ma'am.
thank you.
Anybody else care to be heard? If not, I'll close the public session and go on with the meeting. General business correspondence, the consent calendar, all in favor? I'm sorry, I need a motion.